The book of Numbers gets its name from the different censuses that is taken within the book that's recorded there. Chapter 1 and chapter 3 deal with the initial census, and then 40 years later, chapter 26 deals with the second census. Remember, the Israelites scouted the promised land back in Numbers chapter 13 and 14. They went through the land. They saw that it was a good land. There was great land, one that definitely a blessing. But they said that there was giants in the land, that there was fortified cities, and they refused to believe that the Lord God would give that to them. They did not think that the enemies could be defeated. And so they were punished because of their unbelief. They had to spend 40 years then wandering in the wilderness. The Lord punished them by giving them one day, for every day, that they scouted the land, they would have a year that they would have to wander in the wilderness. So the 40-day scouting trip turned into 40 years in the wilderness. And what was the purpose of this? It was judgment against them, against the adults for their own belief. And that brings us to the second census today. And I want to read kind of the recap of the second census in Numbers chapter 26, verse 63 through 65. Numbers 26, beginning in verse 63. These were the ones registered by Moses and the priest Eleazar when they registered the Israelites on the plain of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. But among them, there was not one of those who had been registered by Moses and the priest Aaron when they registered the Israelites in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord had said to them, they would all die in the wilderness. None of them was left except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. And so here we see that the second census has been completed, and all those adults that were in the earlier census had now died. They had all been punished. God kept his word of judgment. And he has a word of judgment that still exists today. You know, I think there's so many people in the world today that hear that the world is going to end, that hear that Jesus is going to come back one day, that hear that God is going to judge all the unbelievers. And I believe there's so many people in the world that hear that don't believe it. But I'm here to tell you, God has a word of judgment for us today. And the lesson is that from the census today is that God keeps his word and judgment is coming. Hope you join me again next time as we continue in the book of Numbers.